Every generation has their generation of stars, and Kobe Bryant would be of my generation. I've emceed so many events with Kobe Bryant. I've done several Wednesday's Child segments with him. I literally broke into tears when I heard this news. My husband didn't want to believe.
No.
He's like, let's just wait. I'm like, Sean, I got the call to come into work.
Right.
We get information, and I'm called into work. He just didn't want to believe it.
This, to me, is the most shocking celebrity death since Michael Jackson. You know, a figure that is so huge, and in both cases TMZ leading the way, and I think in both cases people wanting to think it just cannot be true. I mean, most conversations were about how it can't be true. And unfortunately, in this situation, it is.
So we are looking right now at live coverage of the scene. I'm going to have a tough time with this coverage because you're looking at this helicopter that has gone down with 5 people on board, and to see that it is still smoking there just paints such a realistic picture of what happened there on the ground. And when the word came in, for me, it was Kobe Bryant might be on board.
Right.
And then within just a matter of minutes, it hit the wires from TMZ that Kobe Bryant is indeed has been killed in this helicopter crash.
And you think of helicopters and you think of Kobe Bryant. You know, he was well known for living in Orange County and taking a helicopter to Lakers games at Staples Center. He would land at the hotel across the way, and he would, well known for getting away from LA traffic, has taken so many helicopter crashes over the years. And that's where it is. Now, Liz Habib is standing by with us. She has arrived in Miami to cover Super Bowl next week. We thought that was going to be the focus of Sports Wrap today, but unfortunately, as with the news, we have to adjust. And Liz, I know you've interacted with Kobe so many times over the years, one of the most monumental figures in the history of Los Angeles sports. And what are your thoughts as this horrible day?
And I thought I was going to be able to do this when you guys came to me, and in this moment I'm realizing just how hard it is. I've covered Kobe since 2005 with the Lakers, and Alex, you said it right. I do not remember any death that compares except for the death of Michael Jackson. Kobe was very active still, out and about in the community, and anytime he showed up at a Lakers game, which he had done recently, he was the highlight of the crowd. Just yesterday, LeBron James broke one of his records, and he spent a long time after the game talking about how Kobe was his inspiration. Are you having a hard time hearing me, or am I good to go?
No,
LeBron spent a long time
keep going.
just yesterday talking about what Kobe meant to him and what a big deal Kobe was to him. The reaction from the sports world has come swift. Kobe, this transcends Los Angeles. This is global. My phone is lighting up. Literally calls from around the world, texts from people who can't believe it. Kobe Bryant met with the biggest stars, the biggest athletes in the world. Tom Brady sent out an Instagram that says, Kobe, we miss you already. 1996, that was the year Kobe was drafted right out of Lower Merion High School in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He came to the Lakers. He played off the bench for the first several years. He was part of that first three-peat with Shaq. They were a great tandem together. Then there were a few down years, and Kobe came through in his own right after Shaq was traded. Shaq, by the way, is scheduled to have a party here in Miami for the Super Bowl. We'll see how things unfold. This has got to be devastating for everybody involved. My initial thoughts go to his wife, Vanessa. They have 2 older daughters who I remember when they were toddlers sitting outside the Laker locker room, being at Laker games. Natalia is the oldest one. Natalia, I think, maybe 16 or 17 now, or maybe a little older. Giovanna, Gigi, she's the second one. Kobe talks about her a lot when he talks about her playing basketball and how she plays like the Mamba. And both Vanessa and Kobe post often pictures of their children on their Instagram. And then they have 2 babies. There's the youngest one who really is just a baby, and then the other one, maybe she's 2-3 years old. They have 2 little ones. So 4 daughters altogether, and they live in Newport Beach along Newport Coast. Kobe has always been a fixture in this community, and as you know, in the later years, he retired I think it was 2016. He played 20 years with the Los Angeles Lakers in the NBA and won 5 championship rings and became an icon in the business and beyond the business. He is known worldwide, and reaction from this will become, you will see, from world leaders, from celebrities, and certainly from athletes. There is a Pro Bowl being played for the NFL today. It's hard to believe that those athletes are not affected by this.
And you think, Liz, about the growth that we all witnessed in Kobe together, how he came to the Lakers as a 17-year-old kid who, if you read a lot of the reports, didn't have a lot of friends on the team because he was such a hardworking guy. He's all of a sudden never went to college. He came straight to the NBA and had trouble sort of adjusting at first with all these grown men who were professional athletes. And over the years, he paired with Shaq. They became the dynamic duo. Of course, then Shaq ended up leaving the team. Kobe became the leader of the team. He won a couple championships in his own right. He became a father. He really matured. And Liz, also, I think a lot of reporters would say, and maybe you can add some color to this, the fact that his relationship with the media changed over the years as well. With so many reporters, at first he was so sort of off, had a difficult relationship, and some of that may have been the sexual assault case that he went through in the early part of his career. But in the last few years, Kobe has lightened up a lot with the Mamba mentality and with interacting with sort of everybody around him. It seemed like he had but really matured in a really interesting and profound way.
That time, he was really personable when you were with him like that on that level. A lot of what people saw or the media saw was that other side where he was playing that Mamba, that tough Mamba. But yes, Alex, after he got out, he even talked about his relationship with Shaq. And even Shaq and he, we all, you know, it was that thing, how much they didn't like each other, how much they did, and they knew they were young.
Liz, as we are getting and seeing reaction come in across the world, I'm looking at the last tweet that Kobe sent out last night, continuing to move the game forward, King James, much respect, my brother. Just wondering how LeBron James must feel at this moment, wondering how Magic Johnson must feel as we saw him in that video there. You know, you mentioned working with Kobe Bryant after the sexual assault charges. I also did Wednesday's Child with him, fairly close to being after that date, and I remember being a little concerned about doing a story with Kobe Bryant after those charges and saying, you know, thinking, I'm not sure I feel about you right now, and he couldn't have been more gracious, couldn't have been more wonderful as we did a Wednesday's Child segment with him. And he was so gracious to the young child on Wednesday's Child, and he gave the kid his tennis shoes, literally took his tennis shoes off his feet and gave him to the child. So Kobe Bryant has these moments that people in LA will never forget on a personal level. Your thoughts on that?
That's absolutely true. That was the thing. Kobe was a larger-than-life person, as you know. That's why we're talking about this. That's why when that first initial word came out, honestly, I trusted the source, but I didn't believe it, and I wanted to say that can't be true, and I didn't want to repeat the story. But it is true, and it was because we're also shocked because we felt like we knew Kobe and watched him grow up. We watched him when he went to the prom with Brandy. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And then how he got to this level now. Yeah, right, Christine? Remember those days where he got to this elder statesman? He's 41 years old, but he just was such a big part of everything. He and his wife had a foundation. They did so many things. I can only think of his wife and those girls and their faces. We can talk all we want about his basketball family, but his family and his mom and his dad, and he has sisters and everyone else close to him, every security guard, that worked with him, everybody who worked in his business, every single person who worked at Staples Center and was there for him, game in and game out for 20 years. Believe me, they know him. They feel they know him. That's how I feel. I feel like I know him because of all of those years of talking with him.
Yeah, and it's emotional for all of us, and especially Christine, I think, who has had such beautiful interactions with him. And you think of Kobe the competitor, Christine, but then you think of Kobe the man and Kobe the father, and I think you really got a chance to see that person, which is a whole different side of him. We have our colleague Susan Hirasuna, who usually anchors weekends here. She is in Calabasas at the scene where this happened, or maybe at the Sheriff's Department. Let's see if we can check in with Susan. Okay, Susan's not quite ready yet. We will get to Susan in a moment.
We do have this information that we are going to have a news conference at some point in time coming up shortly regarding this crash. And
from my perspective, if you see some white smoke there on that hillside, that is the crash that we're talking about. I talked very briefly to a young man who's now walking away from me, but he apparently witnessed the crash. He heard a sound that he thought was perhaps a jet engine that was in trouble, but in fact it was this helicopter. So he came out to see what happened. And Gavin, tell me exactly what you saw.
I saw a lot of I heard a loud noise, and then I saw a bunch of paramedics, police, firemen all rushing to the scene, and then so when I came out, I saw smoke on the hill, but it wasn't like a big black cloud of smoke, it was just gray. And then I saw everything rushing to the scene, and then we thought that the water just exploded.
Well, so meantime, you heard something first that drew your attention, correct? Tell me about that.
No, it was just it sounded like a jet, like a military plane, but then it wasn't exactly like a explosion sound, but it was like a loud boom.
But helicopters are not uncommon in this area, so you must have heard something, perhaps maybe something that suggested it was engine trouble? I mean, it sounded louder than normal. Is that what you're suggesting?
Because when the fires were here, there was a bunch of helicopters going back and forth, so I know what a helicopter sounded like. It sounded like a helicopter, but it sounded like a jet. It was loud, so
louder than normal.
Calabasas confirmed it.
Who knows whether that suggests that maybe there was an engine trouble. How did you respond when you found out who was believed to be on that helicopter?
I went inside and told my dad what was happening. I told my friends oh, there's all this stuff happening, because some of my friends live in my neighborhood, and so then they were like, oh, well, we think it's probably a
now
car
we can
crash
hear. We could not hear Liz before.
So I just kind of let it go by as usual, and I was listening to the police scanner, and then they said it was an aircraft.
Did somebody?
But Gavin, once you found out it was Kobe Bryant on that,
I wasn't exactly concerned. I mean, I was concerned, but more my friends, because my friends, that's their role model at school for Kobe Bryant. But I mean, yeah.
So their response was what? Your response was what?
I just
disbelief.
Yeah, I didn't feel good. My stomach hurt.
Okay, well, Gavin, don't go away. Hopefully we'll get to talk with you again. But you're looking straight at the crash scene, and you can see that there's still people up there on the hill, and it is clear that if you were aboard that helicopter, 5 people aboard, no one survived, and now, of course, we're learning that Kobe Bryant was above. It could be are we hearing this report that it's his personal helicopter? Is that correct, Alex and Christine? Now I'm not hearing you guys. So I'm not sure if you guys can still. Okay. No. He tried to kick us off. The police, hours ago. Just after she left, literally.
And we know Kobe to have
It's hard to believe.
helicopter part of his way of life.
Should we?
From Newport to Los Angeles for games. So it's no surprise we hear of Kobe Bryant in a helicopter. It's part of his life, his lifestyle. We do know we should repeat that as we look at this live picture here of Calabasas, that Kobe's wife Vanessa was not on board that helicopter, but 4 others were, and I think that we want to be remind everybody that there are 4 others who are on board that helicopter as well, and I have friends from Newport texting me names and asking me names of people that they knew were very close to Kobe and could have been with him or not. So this is a tragedy that on a personal level affects people in our neighborhood, our neighbors, our friends, our loved ones, as we wonder who else was on board,
Right.
and we send love and condolences to their family members as well.
But at least according to TMZ, we do not believe, as Christine just said, that Vanessa Bryant or Kobe's other 4 daughters were on that helicopter. But that, of course, makes you think of them. You know, these daughters who just completely idolized their father. You know, he was meant so much to so many in the Southern California community, but to them, he is their father. And he's been so active with girls basketball, which has been such a meaningful thing to so many women in sports, that Kobe has really pumped up and propped up and brought more respect and attention to women's basketball. And you think of those teams, he called it the Mamba Mentality Academy, and he would have these girls basketball clinics for people out in Orange County. And man, you think about those girls.
And Alex, you make a very good point, because as we as Laker fans, Kobe Bryant fans, watch this news coverage here, we're keeping in mind that, as you said, a wife has lost her husband.
Mm-hmm.
Little girls, daughters have lost their father.
Right.
That makes this tragedy so much more. And on a personal level, if anybody's lost a loved one in an accident, which I have, because my father died in a scuba diving accident, you know that suddenness of someone not coming home for dinner that night, that suddenness of your world coming to a complete halt. So to the family of Kobe Bryant, his wife, his children, their extended family, we send our thoughts and warm condolences.
And some news just coming in from the FAA, identifying that the chopper that crashed was a Sikorsky S-76 helicopter that was owned by Kobe Bryant. It was his personal helicopter that he used so often to travel throughout Southern California and other areas, and it went down. Clearly, when you look at the scene there and you look at pictures from when this crash happened, a foggy morning throughout Southern California. That's an area. I grew up about 10 minutes from where this crash happened. It's an area with a lot of hills. We do not know what caused. Right now, the FAA is saying it was unknown causes, in quotes, in terms of what caused this crash to happen.
You know, as we work in the news business, I'm sure you're like me. We get up in the morning, we start checking social media to see what's going on in Southern California. And I saw a friend of mine who was working this morning posting about a helicopter crash, so I knew it would be something to cover in the news.
Right.
You and I have the day off. It's Grammy Sunday, so probably you're going to go about your day and watch the Grammys tonight, me as well. And I get this call from Fox 11 that we think Kobe Bryant was on board this helicopter. Literally, I was absolutely just shaking, He is somebody that has touched our lives as a player, then as a businessman, then winning an Oscar.
Right.
And I think that for so many people, whether you're a Laker fan, basketball fan or not, you saw him in so many different ways. I emceed an event with him as a businessman just 2 years ago. He was at a home in Newport Beach. He lived so close, he actually walked to the location for the event. And it was a business conversation, not necessarily a basketball conversation, but I think Kobe is that type of person who applied all of his basketball training and his tools and dedication to the business world as well.
Well, and Christine, I'm interested in your insight as somebody who knows Kobe, the man, a little bit. So many of us know Kobe, the basketball player, or what was he like as a guy?
Look, I'm not going to pretend to have been a personal friend.
Right.
I'll say that I did a lot of segments of Wednesday's Child with him where you got to see him as a person giving his time to a child. So to me, that speaks volumes that somebody would, you know, be willing to partake in something like that and share just the power that he has in the child's eyes. His last year of his last game, that around that time we did our last Wednesday's Child segment with him, and it was a wonderful chance to sit down with him as he was exiting the court in his days as a basketball player. I just feel like I feel devastated because I feel like, I don't want to say I've lost a friend, but I lost a career colleague, somebody. We emceed a homeless event together. We emceed
I think
the business event. I feel like he's somebody I lived my career with.
Right. And I think I've often said, to me, the three most beloved figures in Southern California, the sort of Mount Rushmore of Southern California icons, are Vin Scully, Magic Johnson, and Kobe Bryant. People that transcend everything, universally known, universally liked, and have become such extraordinary figures in the lives of so many. And the fact that Kobe was so strong and young and doing so well in this post-basketball career, I think, is what makes this so shocking. To literally come out of nowhere. And it reminds all of us also about our own, about the fact that life can be so short.
Right. Now, I'm sure your phone has been blowing up. My phone is as well. We want to let people know that in Leimert Park, they're already planning a candlelight vigil tonight in Leimert Park at 5 p.m. So for those of you, our friends who want to come together and to unite and to be together, we want to let you know that there is a vigil tonight. Okay, we have this terrible news that has just come in here to Fox 11. TMZ confirming that one of Kobe Bryant's daughters, Gianna, was on board that helicopter that has crashed.
Gianna, known as Gigi, was 13 years old.
So we have been hearing about 5 people on board. We have been told from TMZ that Vanessa, his wife, was not on board that helicopter. But now this news that one of his daughters, Gianna Bryant, was on the helicopter. TMZ confirming that.
And according,
the heartbreak for Vanessa. The heartbreak for Vanessa.
And according to TMZ, what they were doing today, they were on that helicopter on their way to the Mamba Academy for basketball practice, the Mamba Academy in Thousand Oaks today. So they were heading, we don't know if they took off in Orange County or not, at Kobe's home, headed towards there. And then, and Liz, we bring back in Liz Habib into our conversation, who's in Miami for Super Bowl coverage. And Liz, we just learned that his daughter was among those who died. Talk for a moment, I know you've done some reporting on this, about Kobe's extraordinary love and embrace of the women's basketball game and his daughters and making them better. Can we go on the set? It's easier for everybody to work out there if we can.
With the girls, bringing them to the games. When he brought Gigi, the last time he brought Gigi to a Lakers game, they sat right there, front and center. LeBron ran over, said something to Kobe, said hi to Gigi. Gigi got to meet all the big athletes. She was always right there with him, because I think that we all expected Gigi to be one of the next big WNBA stars. We just couldn't see it any other way, that the daughter of Kobe Bryant would carry that mantle. We were certain that he may not have had a son, but he had Gigi who could do that. Let me bring Pablo Alsina in, because Pablo has been around too and covered Kobe and been around for a lot's gone on in his career as well.
Liz, heartbroken in every which way, especially with what you're saying. Was Gianna in the helicopter also? Has that been confirmed? The last time I interviewed Kobe Bryant, I have to share this story. It was at a WNBA game. I never get starstruck, ever. I meet famous people all the time, and I met Kobe, and I was awestruck. I mean, he has this essence about him. But next to him was his daughter, Gianna. And we were at the WNBA game, and typical Kobe fashion, I asked Gianna, who's the best player in the WNBA? Without missing a beat, she goes, I am, and I will be. She's just like her daughter. I'm beyond sad for Kobe, heartbroken, her daughter there also. We're here in Miami. As soon as we hear the news, elevator's door open, and this guy saying, did you see that he was in tears, and he wasn't even a Lakers fan.
No, this is the type of person Kobe is. It transcends. This is a global superstar with name recognition all over the world, who developed a brand that other athletes aspired to get to. That's who Kobe Bryant was, and he reached his brand out. He went, as you know, won an Oscar in the movies. He was doing podcasts for kids. He was working with Wall Street investors. We all expected, and he talked about it often. In fact, there's a podcast not done too long ago, I think just a couple weeks ago, done with a former teammate of his, where he talks about how he was coming out with he's going to have a major movie coming out. So Kobe developed himself far beyond basketball,
Yeah, his...
Yes. Liz, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to chat with you because we've talked in the makeup and hair room together about Kobe Bryant and Vanessa and what it's like to be a basketball wife. And I know that you always went out of your way to say hello to Vanessa, to include her in the conversation and wherever you were. And I'm just thinking of the heartbreak of a wife to lose her husband, a mother to lose her child. I just can't imagine the pain and suffering and heartbreak for Vanessa right now. And I just wanted you to reflect, perhaps, if you could, for a minute on some words of thought for Vanessa.
You know, Vanessa was really strong to be by Kobe's side through so many things, to be the wife of someone so famous. And Vanessa, in her own right, had gotten such notoriety. But all I can ever really think about with Vanessa is how she was with those kids and how she would bring them to the games and how every game she had those two so perfect. They were always so perfect and so beautiful with their little smiles, and they would talk to me. She was always with them, and maybe she was with someone else and holding their baby. And always outside the locker room, I would make sure I said hi to Vanessa and check in with Vanessa and see how everything was going. It was the Kobe and Vanessa Bryant Foundation together. They did it together, and Kobe made sure of that they were together. So, and this is her Gigi. This is for many, many years before she had the two younger ones. This was her baby for many, many years. So I can't. I know when she posts and when they post how she says it's my heart. And she says that about all of her children. This is my heart. And she puts that picture out of them. I can't imagine losing Kobe, but to lose a daughter like that, how she just wants to hug the other three so closely and be next to them. And Christine, I'm sure you saw. I mean, Christine, I remember with you and I were somewhere together, and Kobe walked in the room and he just lit up when he saw you, and he came over and gave you a big hug. Yeah, he was just always so kind to us. I know that other members of the media maybe didn't have that same experience, but I think we